You're watching Breakfast Television on City TV. Tomorrow, Saturday, marking 50 years since humans landed and stepped, of course, onto the surface of the moon. All kinds of celebrations are happening in honor of the golden anniversary, including a celebration at the University of Calgary's Rothney Observatory. Dr. Phil Langille joining us this morning to talk about this. Dr. Phil, an astrophysicist, also director of the Rothney Observatory. Thank you for coming in. I always love it when you're here because we both are always excited about the subject that we're talking about, which is good fun.
Yeah.
So the Apollo 11 mission, putting a human on the moon, how significant was this in the whole kind of realm of space exploration?
Well, I mean, so I have two trains of thought on this. Of course, the space exploration thing is mind-boggling because they were building machines for the first time, right? And of course, nothing always goes smoothly like this, and things blow up, and you try again.
Of course.
And so people forget, you know, they think, oh, they just built a rocket and 3 guys went to the moon, but it was not like that at all. There was all the steps required to get somebody first into orbit, and then you got to put a couple of things in orbit that can join together, because that's a maneuver they had to do on their moon mission. And then they sent people to the moon to go around the moon, but not land on the moon, and bring them back. So you see, there's lots of little steps in the progression to get there. So finally, all the check boxes were checked, and they say, okay, we're good to go. So they built Apollo 11, and off they went.
And off they ran.
So and the things that they learned doing all of that is why space travel looks so easy today.
Okay.
Because of all the hard work that those guys laid down.
All the mistakes made back then in the 60s make it look relatively easy today, right? Of course, back then, though, there must have, because of all these mistakes, and because they're using these machines for the first time, there must have been a huge amount of bravery on the part of the humans that went into orbit, right?
Yeah, my goodness, like, okay, let's just go 400,000 kilometers into space where no one has ever gone before, and if everything goes well, you know, we checked all the boxes, you should get back. Right? Yeah. So just imagine being those guys.
And the computers they were using back then were so simple.
Super funny. Yeah. Slide rules and things like
exactly.
that. Right?
Exactly, right? Okay.
There is one other point that I as a nerdy physicist, right? So you have to think about what was really going on from a fundamental science point of view. So I always think about Newton. You know, Newton, there's this famous story of Newton who was in his outside one time and he saw an apple fall from a tree. And then he goes, I wonder, he was thinking about this gravity idea, I wonder if the gravity that made the apple fall to the ground is the same gravity that holds the moon in orbit around the Earth. Now just think about how amazing an idea that is, that he's pondering, does the world work here on Earth the same as it does in space, right? And that's a fundamental thing that astrophysicists rely on. Like when people say, see that star over there, it's so far away, they give you a number, and they tell you it's made out of so-and-so and it's so big. Well, how do they know all that? Well, the fundamental premise is that the universe works over there the same as it does over here. As it does here. So the gravity's the same, the forces are the same, the particles are the same, the way that light and matter interact is the same over there than it is here. So when these Apollo guys were doing this is the first time you could test those ideas, that the universe worked out there in space the same as it worked here. Okay. And so it's like, when you're there, drop an apple, see what happens. And see what happens, right? See if it's the same. So they did goofy things like that.
NASA is saying that we're going back. We're going to go back to the moon, of course, as a gateway, and that's why they call this next project Lunar Gateway. And this is really interesting, isn't it?
It is. I mean, so another thing that, because I'm an old guy, and I have, when the Apollo thing was going on, there was talk like, space travel was going to be every day, and rocket ships were going to take off and they were going to land, and that was going to be an everyday occurrence. And the very first time I ever saw a rocket take off and then come back to the ground and land was just a short while ago, right? So it's like almost 50 years later. And then, of course, there was always this talk about, there's going to be space stations on the moon, and there's going to be, and so, lots of talk, but so slow, so slow. So when you hear about something like they're really actually going to put a a station, a space station around the moon. It's like all that talk from all those years ago is finally happening. And, you know, of course, the promise of what that holds, like people are finally making their way out into the solar system.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
It is exciting. Okay,
Yeah.
we have to talk about what's happening at the observatory. So
Yeah.
tomorrow, if I come and I buy a ticket, 50th anniversary celebration, tomorrow between 12 and 3. The observatory, of course, along Highway 22, just south of 22X, if you're looking for a locator there. What can I expect if I show up?
So it's just a big celebration,
Yeah.
right? So we normally do things at the observatory at night. So we're doing a daytime thing. Why is that? Well, the exact moment, we're going to do a countdown to when Armstrong put his toe on the moon.
Fun.
And in our time zone, that happened early in the afternoon. So we're going to do a big countdown, and we're going to do a big cheer exactly 50 years after. So we have a whole bunch of stuff planned. There's historical talks, and people are going to describe what we know about the moon, the geology of it. There's a RASC expert who's going to remind us, you know, if you want to study the moon through a telescope or a pair of binoculars, what would you look for?
Sure.
And so that's inside stuff. The weather's going to be fantastic, as you know.
It's supposed to be nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got lots of outdoor things going on. We've got music. We've got a bouncy castle for the little kids. They can pretend they're bouncing on the moon.
Sure.
Karaoke. We're going to do some karaoke as well. And so we got lots of astronomical memorabilia. We're going to set up some telescopes, of course. The sun is out.
Yeah.
And we can show people what the sun looks like through a telescope.
Awesome.
So
Well,
lots of good fun stuff.
Thank you, Phil, for coming in. Again, that's 12 to 3 tomorrow afternoon. It's $10, by the way, just a small fee to get in. And south on Highway 22, just south of 22X. Always good to see you.
Thanks, Ted.
And I guess happy 50th anniversary.
To you.
There we go.
To you.
A lot to come this morning on Breakfast Television. News headlines, traffic update around the corner. And Michelle has a good-looking forecast and weather. You're watching Breakfast Television this morning on